Meu nome é Daniela.
My name is Daniela. I am 40 years old and I am self-employed. I lived a cursed life. I was the victim of a curse for about 21 years. Everything started when I was 11 years old. A family member said to me, "Imagine what it is for a child to receive a word like this." That family member said that I would become a prostitute, that I would be the shame of the family. And that really brought instability to me in that moment because it brought a lot of fear that this would happen. So much so that I was afraid of dating or getting into a relationship. But early in life, I met someone whom I started to live with. I was relieved in that moment because I thought, now that I have a husband, this curse will not come to pass. So what happened in that relationship? There was a lot of verbal aggression and betrayal, to the point that I started to accept being betrayed. Because in my mind I thought, it doesn't matter if I'm cheated on, if that curse doesn't happen in my life. But after the verbal aggression, physical aggression started, to the point that I thought I would die. And that's when I decided to separate. When we separated, I went back to my own house. I started going through depression. I hated the daytime. I hated sunlight. And then I met some friends. I started going out, met people of a higher class, famous people, but that was not what I desired. Inside the world they lived in, it happened that without even realizing, I began to prostitute myself. In that moment, I got really frustrated because what was determined when I was 11 years old and what I fought against my whole life happened. I spent 4 years traveling the country to prostitute myself, but my desire was to die. Sometimes I would take a lot of pills to the point of feeling sick. I would take a knife to try to kill myself, but I was not strong enough. Many times I thought about throwing myself under a truck, but the same thought would come, what if I throw myself and I don't die? So I would get really frustrated. And why? Because my only desire was to die. I didn't desire anything. Nothing made my eyes shine. Nothing in this world would give me pleasure. The only pleasure I had inside of me was the thought of dying. So I would go walking and crying. And then I came by the door of the church. And I stopped there before the stairs at the entrance and said, "My God, if you exist, you will help me." And I had a lot of anger towards the church. I had anger towards the pastors. That day, I remember it was a Friday, and I looked at the pastor and said, "Look, I don't like you. I hate the church, but I need help. I've sought help from psychologists. I've taken pills. I did everything that I could imagine to be delivered from the depression and never had success." And he challenged me to come every Friday, Wednesday, and Sunday, and I accepted the challenge. But that Friday, I didn't know that God existed, and that He could heal, and that He would set free. It was a night that marked my life, because I had fibroids. I even had a surgery booked. I used to see many shadows. To be honest, since my childhood, I used to see a lot of shadows in my room. My life was hell. On the first Friday that I came to church, I left the church different. I left the church with peace. I didn't use drugs. I could sleep. I noticed something different. I was an angry person, but I decided that every time I went to church, everything that was said, I would obey. And I remember that I sat in the middle of the church because I didn't want anyone to recognize me. But everything that came from the altar, I obeyed, and there was a transformation inside of me. For someone that was disturbed, who had insomnia, saw shadows, had the desire to commit suicide, had a lot of grudges, thirst for revenge, there was peace inside of me from that point. I was able to forgive. I learned how to forgive the people who hurt me. And the most difficult thing was to forgive myself. I learned that I had to forgive myself. And then I heard about the baptism with the Holy Spirit. I didn't have a clue about what it was, but I understood that without the Holy Spirit, I would not be able to go far. And then I decided, I didn't have the desire to seek the Holy Spirit, but I decided to receive the Holy Spirit because I knew the need I had, and I knew where I came from. I didn't want that life anymore. And then I put all my strength to receive the baptism with the Holy Spirit. And when I learned how to forgive myself, forgive those I had a grudge against, and obey everything that was said without missing a Wednesday, Sunday, and Friday, I received the Holy Spirit. Today, I have a lot of peace and joy. Any problem can come, but I have the assurance that God is with me. Habit of saying that happiness didn't exist, but only moments of joy. But today, I can confirm that happiness exists inside of us. The peace, I say now, that it is a piece of heaven inside of us, the Holy Spirit. The peace, the joy of waking up happy and well. Every morning I look to heaven and thank God for all that He has done. God transformed the curse into a blessing, and today I am very happy.